Hi, this is Sean Green, former Blue Jay, and you're listening to the Walk Off Podcast with Scott and Adam.
Good afternoon and welcome everybody to the Walk Off. We are a Blue Jays focused show here on 365 Sportscast Radio Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Scott Belford, joined by Adam Mack. How goes it, my man?
Rainy for the last few days. Kind of wrecked my long weekend, but then again, so did COVID.
So did the Blue Jays performance. Just a real
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up. Do we have to talk about the Blue Jays today?
Isn't it tough, right? We do have a big show ahead of us here, and we are going to get into what has been the toughest stretch of the season to be a Blue Jays fan. The boys in blue lost 6 in a row, all to division rivals. Almost all 6 of them, buddy. Heartbreaking fashion, too.
Yeah, they were tough.
But we are gonna turn positive here. After that, we're gonna get the negativity out, and then we're going to shine a positive light on the fact that the Blue Jays' big stud right-handed pitcher, Alek Manoah, the number 5 prospect in the Jays system and a top 100 prospect according to Baseball America in the entire Major League Baseball organizations. He gets the call up, and then we also throw to guests. We've got a couple of them here that had a heck of a chat with us. We sit down with the head of mental performance department for the Toronto Blue Jays, Ben Freakley, and mental performance coach with the Jays, Jimmy Van Ostren. Honestly, just some great insight into what a mental performance department is striving to accomplish. We get into kind of the nitty gritty of the mental side to a slump, and we just talk mental toughness of this Jays team in general. Just a couple real good guys. So every Tuesday, we run this radio show right here on 365 Sportscast Radio Network, 6 Eastern. And then directly after this show, we do our live stream of the Blue Jays game. And that, of course, is brought to you by YourRate.ca. Darren Brown is the mortgage broker there. Mortgage rates are going up. As of June 1st, there are still some lower rates available, so you can fill out your forms online, paperless, COVID-free at YourRate.ca. Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. Twitter, at Walk Off Podcast, and YouTube, the Walk Off Podcast. There we go. All the housekeeping out of the way, and now we can get into the not so good, the bad, and the ugly. Just nothing overly great to talk about here. But let's do it, my man. That sigh sums it up.
Where do we start? Because I tell you, 7 days ago, I was feeling a lot different about this team.
Myself included in that. I guess let's start with the numbers. 6-game losing streak. They're back to 500, 23-23. 2 extra inning losses to the Rays. They got swept by the Rays. 2 blow-in saves, 1 to the Rays, 1 to the Red Sox. A blow-in lead in the 8th. 5 of these 6 losses were winnable. A couple of them were literally straight-up wins that were given away. And how heartbreaking and down to the wire most of these losses were plunged the dagger even deeper into the heart of us fans, I feel like.
You know, we lost every possible way in the last 6 days. Like you said, 5 out of 6 were winnable. 1 we got kind of stomped on. So we got stomped on. We had games where we had a big lead early. We blew it. We had games where we were down early, 5-0 after the first inning, crawled our way back, took the lead.
Yeah.
And then still blew it.
Yeah.
Back and forth into extra innings.
Oh, those extra inning losses were killing me.
Man.
Saturday was so hard to take, man. Like, blowing the lead in the 9th. Just, it was rough, man. So here's what we're going to do. I don't wish to rehash every negative thing that happened. I mean, there were plenty of them, right? Defensive gaffes didn't help anything. I mean, that Espinal error in the first inning yesterday, where it was the 3rd out, it would have stopped the bleeding. It would have been 0-0 going into the bottom of the first. Instead, bases wind up loaded, and then they allow 5 runs. And that's kind of what happened the last 6 games. Just mental gaffes. that cost this team, third outs where they give the opposing team another chance.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing that with the Red Sox and the Rays, they're going to make you pay. They're going to make you pay. So let's start with the negatives of this series. We're going to try and take of the last 6 games, I should say. We're going to try and take some positives out of it. There aren't a lot there, but let's start with the negatives, buddy. This bullpen is reeling. They were the strength of this team in April. They were the backbone.
All April, though, we were saying this wasn't sustainable.
Yep.
You've listed the guys in our bullpen on countless occasions. Like, these are hidden gems who were overachieving, overperforming. They've been overused and are overworked. And we're
All the
seeing
overs. All the overs.
We're seeing the fruits of it now. Here we are in May. Like, Tim Mays is a perfect example. Perfect ERA through the first 3-4 weeks of the season. Since then, people want to send him down.
Well, you know what, man? Charlie is struggling to find guys in that bullpen that can throw strikes, that can fill up the zone. They're walking themselves into losses. And that was heartbreaking. Like, we watched that happen a couple of these last 6 games. Just walks that cost the Blue Jays the game.
How do you feel about Tyler Chatwood?
Everybody gets blowing up every once in a while. Personally, I wouldn't have even taken him out of that game. I would have let him lose that game.
Me too. I felt so bad watching him in the dugout as, was it Bergen?
Yeah, like Travis Bergen is fine, but he is a guy that is a low leverage dude. Yeah. He only throws, he's got one pitch, right? So if he's not locating his fastball, we watch what happened on Saturday happen. Yeah. So if you're Tyler Chatwood and you get called out of the game, you had a few rough bounces, you walk a few, you're struggling with your stuff, bases are loaded, you've still got the game under your control, 2 outs, and you get pulled to watch Travis Bergen walk 3 runs in. And this is what's happening, man. This bullpen, you always hear guys talk about the back of the baseball card.
Mm-hmm.
Guys are going to return to their career averages. That is the most likely thing to happen to any guy in baseball, is that over 162, they're going to find their career average. Yeah. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes guys make huge steps forward. But in this case, we're watching guys like Anthony Castro, who just came back from injury, had an amazing April, struggle to find the zone all of a sudden. Guys like Travis Bergen. These are guys that were honestly, like, let's face it, Adam, they were taken off the scrap heap. These are waiver claims.
Yeah, it's a lot different story to throw strikes with no runners on in the 7th inning with a 4-run lead than it is to inherit bases loaded in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
And throw strikes. Like,
and
I don't even blame Bergen for what happened there, because
guys are being put into situations they shouldn't be in.
It's the same pass that I was giving Kevin Biggio at third base. He's not a third baseman. I don't fault him for any of that. He's doing us a favor. Bergen is not a closer. I don't fault him for not performing like a closer. He doesn't make $12 million a year. He makes the league minimum. He makes $575,000, which, I mean, still a lot of money. But
yeah, no,
high leverage guys are high leverage guys for a reason. So,
it's a really good point. How do you feel? I like, here's the thing. Charlie Montoya is getting so much flack for the last 6 games. Personally, I think it's pretty undeserved. I mean, he's made some questionable errors, or questionable moves, I should say, but this isn't Charlie Montoya's fault.
It's weird when we're in extra innings, there's a runner on third, and then we walk the batter to go first and third, and then we don't hold him on, so we steal second uncontested. Why even put him on? We're just going to runners on second and third. Like, it's weird, but that's new baseball. I don't know. That's the Ross Atkins analytics team. That's not Charlie Montoya.
And again, look at what is in this bullpen right now. Like, besides
Romano.
The Markham Madman, exactly. Besides Jordan Romano, thanks for filling that in there. My brain went blank for a second. But yes, besides Romano, who has just found it again lately, like he hadn't really been himself since coming back off the IL, and I think he's back where we need him to be. He's throwing 100 and he's looking deadly. Yeah. That said, besides him, there's not a lot of guys that I have a ton of faith in. Rafael Dolis is probably next on that list, and we watch him cough up the game in Boston there to end the series. Now that game, even, I don't blame Dolis even. That was another game where with 2 outs up in the game in the 9th, errors were made to give that team another chance. And we talked about it off the top of this. You can't give the Red Sox and the Rays extra chances.
So here's where I'm at, and then let's move on to some good news.
Yes.
Okay? Because we got to get to that pretty awesome interview with Ben Freakley and Jimmy Van Ostrand. I'm kind of over it. I'm over this whole season. We're not a playoff. We're maybe a playoff team. We're not a World Series contender, and I'm gonna stop getting my hopes up as if we are. Instead, I'm not investing emotionally in wins and losses anymore. Instead, I'm going to just sit back and I'm gonna enjoy the amazing, incredible show that is the Vlad Guerrero Jr. MVP campaign that he's putting on right now. Because he is all we could have ever asked for 3 years ago.
Yes.
Best case scenario and more is what we're seeing right now.
First off, I do not believe you, but good luck with separating yourself emotionally. But secondly, I will say, man, you're right. On the positive side of things, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been unbelievable. And when you talk about his MVP campaign, you are not overstating it. If we were to do MVP voting right now, May 25th. May 25th, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., if he's not the MVP, he is in a dead heat with Shohei Ohtani. You know, like it is right there on the verge. He is definitely in the talks. Another positive on this team, Marcus Simeon. And my goodness, can we call him Mr. May? He is having a month for the record books. Maybe not the record books, but for the memory anyways. Yeah. Do you want to go over some of these numbers between Vladdy and Marcus, who are literally carrying this team's offense right now?
Well, let's start with Marcus here. 12 home runs, 30 RBIs, 283 batting average.
And he started slow.
Yeah, he did. 8 stolen bases. He's doing it all. Defensively, he's doing the little things right. I'd love to keep him around next year. Neither of us think that's going to happen.
I don't think so.
Man, do I ever hope some of these good habits that he has as a professional rub off on guys like Bo Bichette.
And I think they are. And honestly, dude, his defense has been so phenomenal. He has shored up that right side of the infield that was such a problem last year. He's been phenomenal, man. And you just hope that another positive is streaks don't last, right? Eventually this losing streak is going to end.
Let's touch on Vladdy's stats for a second here too. Leads the league in total bases, leads the league in OPS plus, leads the league in OPS. I don't know what any of those stats mean. Leads the league in slugging percentage, leads the league in home runs. You know how many home runs he had in 2019 in the whole season? 123 games. How many home runs do you think he hit?
What was it, 15?
15. He's tied it already through 46 games.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. Fun to watch. It's a good time to be a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. fan and a Blue Jays fan. Let's move on here from the negatives and positives and talk about Alek Manoah. Of course, everybody in Blue Jay land has been salivating over this young man since he kind of showed us in spring training that he has developed far faster than we thought was possible, especially with that shutdown minor league season last year. Very exciting stuff. 23 years old, college kid, 6'6", big body, 160 pounds. He throws 95 to 97. Big slider. Breaking stuff needs some work, but it looks pretty good when pitching ninja Rob Feldman puts it up there. He's working on it. He doesn't throw his changeup much to lefties is another thing that we need to watch for. However, It's great that he's in the bigs. It really is. And we've been waiting for this. Number 5 prospect in the Jays system, a top 100 guy, according to Baseball America. Just very exciting. And we get to watch this man pitch on Wednesday. So I'm gonna wrap things up here. I know we're short on time, but thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We do this every single Tuesday at 6 Eastern. And then, of course, we're going to live stream right after the game. Please join us for that on our YouTube page, The Walk Off Podcast. Take care, everybody, and enjoy Ben Freakley and Jimmy Van Ostren.